Distance wins fights, and I'm totally serious. If you can control proper distance to your opponent, then you have the power to decide when and where the actual sword fighting happens, and also where it should end. So most beginners lose not because they don't have the technique, but that's another topic, but they nearly always misjudge their distance to their opponent. So-called measure. They're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Hi, I'm Michael Kozin, and my mission is to help guys to stop wasting their own potential in front of the screens and start building the real strength and skill through training historical European martial arts through the longsword. We've been fed this weak idea that gaming is enough, but I'm here to prove that you can achieve more than just tapping a key to win a shiny pixel on the screen. And I'm here also to prove that real sword fighting still exists, but you have to make the transition from the gamer to the swordsman. It's also the best thing that any man can do for himself, for his own body and mind. Before we go into the actual practice, I want to talk about why the measure is everything in a sword fight. So controlling measure is equal to controlling the whole fight. If you are faster, if you are more stronger, but you lack the measure and the distance management, then it doesn't matter if you just swing at air. Your opponent would use this against you with the specific footwork and specific timed distance management to just defeat you. In HEMA, in historical European martial arts, we call this just distance management. Think of it like a bubble that you can enter and exit. The bubble is your bubble of influence and your opponent's. What I mean is, if your opponent comes into your reach and he can be threatened by you, then you are also threatened by him. That's a basic concept, of course. But you can also step out of this bubble yourself. You can properly control the distance to your opponent. So the bubble of influence is pretty much very short. What I mean is, to actually advance to your opponent, it takes up a so-called tempo, but I'll leave that for another video. The actual bubble of influence is what we can actually reach staying at one place at one time. So if we move, then we move our bubble of influence, of course, but even at the initial stage of moving, so advancing to our opponent, our bubble on influence still stays the same, and then when we finish the step, our bubble moves with us, of course. Most beginners get hit because they don't understand where the actual fight happens. My next point is that you can train it even by yourself, being alone. You don't always need a partner to train your measure. Of course, it would be ideal to have a sparring partner with which you could change the roles to train each of you measure, even outside of actual sparring. And that's why I'm creating this video in this bad weather. It's rainy, it's cold, that's why I have my HEMA jacket on, because it's just cold. So yeah, that's why I'm creating this video, so you could develop your distance control. And all you need is just awareness, repetition and structure. And this kind of practice teaches you the proper instincts for sword fighting. It will not be a active sparring when I'll have my whole moveset against you and vice versa. So these drills are specifically designed for you to focus on distance management to me in this video, yes. Through these drills, you're teaching your body where are the safe zones and where are the danger zones, in some sorts, of course. So let's right now set up your drill space. To set up, you need to find a long, could be tight, space where you could move in a straight line. towards me or retreating, so back. And in house, in your home, it could be some sort of long corridor. But the most important thing that you should set up is the recording of this video in front of you. So you could see me the whole time while drilling and repeating these exercises. So you need to set up the monitor or the phone you're watching on, or set up some sort of screen on which you could always see me and see my movements. This is somewhat tricky to pull off, that's why I'm giving you advice on how to set up it, but that really depends on you. So you need to lay down the path through which you can advance towards the screen and retreat from the screen. So let's get to our first drill of the day. For this drill, we don't need any equipment whatsoever. All you need is just free space and to see me all of the time. Go into your fencing stance and just follow me. If I take one fencing step to the back, then you, on the other hand, should do one fencing step towards me, so towards the screen. If I do a one fencing step towards you, so I advance, you should retreat with one fencing step. You should do the same amount of fencing steps as me, but mirroring it. So in some sorts, you should maintain the same distance to me with the same amount of fencing steps. And we'll only do fencing steps. I already covered them in one of my previous videos, but they're really basic. But to remind you, to advance with a fencing step, of course we should start in a fencing stance. To advance, we start with the front foot and we then come with our back foot to our fencing stance. And to come back, we start with our back foot and just keep the same distance between our feet when we end the step in the fencing stance. That's basically all. Let's begin the actual drill, but you should always look at my movement. So you should always observe me. Let's begin. Advance and retreat. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. 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 Advance. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Okay. Great job. Relax your legs. Let's get to our next second drill. In this drill, we'll integrate a lunge to your moveset. To remind you how a perfect lunge should be made is you lead the movement with your hands or with your both hands. You lead the movement and then you kick out the front foot forward and land it in this position. And to recover from it, just go back to your fencing stance. That's all. So the context of this drill changes because now you should anticipate my one fencing towards you with your attack plus lunge sequence. So if I do just only one step towards you, so I advance to you, you should do an attack with a lunge, like to me. So in a sword fight scenario, this would surprise me because I'm closing the distance to you, but you also react with just direct attack to me, which would be a lot faster than me doing two more movements, like a step and then my own attack. This is really fun drill to do, and it teaches you to anticipate properly. But you also should maintain the same distance to me while I'll be walking backwards. So you should do also the same amount of fencing step to me to maintain the same distance. So you should start a bit more to the back so you could do more fencing step towards the screen. So let's begin. Get into a fencing stance and let's go. Advance, advance, and lunge. So when I do a one fencing step towards you, you should be always prepared to do attack with a lunge, or you can also do with two hands, but it doesn't matter. You just have to always lead the movement with your hand and a lunge. So let's do it one more time. Advance, advance, advance. I hope you did a lunge right now. Let's do it one more time. Get back to your position. And let's begin. Advance, 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 advance. I hope you did a lunge as well. Let's do it two more times. Get to your starting position. And let's begin. Advance, advance. Okay, one more time. Advance, 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 advance. Great job. Let's get to our third drill of the day. I got my longsword because in this drill I'll be changing the conditions for you. Now you have to make sure that my longsword doesn't threaten you when I advance to you. You still have to keep in mind to be always prepared to do an attack with a lunge to me when my sword is to the side and I'm exposed to you when I'm taking one fencing step towards you. So if I don't threaten you with the tip of my sword and I do just one fencing step towards you, you should immediately do attack with a lunge, like to me. But also keeping in mind to maintain the same distance to me, just like in our previous drills. So now you have to be really cautious, because if I take one fencing step towards you while I'm threatening you with my blade, then you lost. So you should always maintain the same distance. So walking back while I'm walking towards you while threatening you with my longsword. So you always have to consider to retreat to maintain the same amount of distance with the same amount of steps while I'm walking towards you, threatening you with my longsword. This specific drill teaches you to always maintain the same distance under the pressure of your opponent, under the danger. And also it teaches you to use your opponent's errors against him. So if in this drill, if I walk towards you with my blade to the side, then you should immediately attack me with just a direct attack in to my head, because in this position I'm totally exposed, and it's even better because I'm walking towards you. So I'm closing the distance for you. But always remember to not just swing with your sword, but also swing and add on a lunge. But also I should mention, if I'm walking to the back, so I'm retreating from you, you don't attack me. You need to remember to attack me only when I'm walking towards you with my blade to the side. If I'm walking to the back and I'm increasing the distance to you, then you just do a fencing step towards me as well, to always maintain the same distance. So let's begin our drill. Advance, retreat, advance, advance, and attack. I hope you did attack me with a lunge. I don't know. Let's reset. Come to your initial position and let's begin one more time. Retreat, advance, advance, retreat, retreat, advance, advance. Boom. I got hit to the head. I hope. One more time. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Boom. Nice. Let's do it one more time. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. 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 Retreat. 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 Advance. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Boom. Cool. So let's get to our fourth and the last drill for today. For this last drill, take up arms and take your own longsword. Could be a feather sword, could be just a padded longsword, or even could be just a straight wooden stick, which you could hold two-handed and wield like a longsword. But don't worry, this drill doesn't come with some new longsword movement. It's just there to make you feel and control the measure better with you holding an object in front of you. That one last drill is the hardest one, because in this drill I add on to my moveset an attack with a lunge to you, which you should defend by moving to the back with one fencing step or even two, while also parrying me with this kind of motion. So if you're holding your sword in a fencing stance like this, then to parry my incoming attack to the head from your left side, mirroring it. So imagine I'm you. So the left side, if you're holding your sword here, then to parry the incoming attack, you should move your sword to the left side and block or parry my attack with your own blade. This kind of position here is called a frontal guard, or also named a crown guard by Fiore dei Liberi. This parrying motion is an active defense in some sorts. So parrying my attack is also an active defense in longsword generally. So remember to do a perfect parry without any extra movements. When I attack you with a attack and a lunge, so you see my blade moving to you, then you, on the other hand, should do a fencing step to the back while parrying my attack with your blade in a frontal guard. So you're like intercepting my attack while keeping the proper distance to me, and that's the basic parry. Of course, it would be a lot easier to show you how to do it with another sparring partner, but unfortunately I'm here by myself in my backyard. If you want to drill more of these specific drills and get my own feedback, then check out my community in the description, which is called From Gamer to Swordsman. It's where I help guys to go from zero to fighting ready with a longsword. You'll get specific step-by-step drills, my feedback, and a community of like-minded guys who are on the same path of self-improvement through the longsword. So check out the link in the description. Let's do this fourth and the last drill. So once again, you defend while doing the fencing step to the back, but also you should remember to attack me with your own attack and a lunge when I'm exposed, when I'm leaving myself exposed, and when I'm doing a one step towards you. This is very important. So it's an act of attack and defense at the same time, just like in sparring, just like in a real sword fight, but without any extra movements. Let's begin this drill. Get into your initial position, get into your fencing stance, and let's begin. When I threaten you and I take one step towards you, you take one step back. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Boom. You should attack me with a lunge. Once again, get into your initial position and let's begin. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Retreat. I hope right now you did a fencing step to the back while parrying my attack. You see that I'm doing this kind of attacks very slowly, so you could see on the recording that I'm moving my blade with a cut motion to you. So let's do it 2 more times. Retreat. Advance. Advance. Retreat. Once again, get into your initial position. Let's begin. Advance. Advance. And boom. You should have attacked me. Very well. We've ended our practice for today. But I want to still talk more about this kind of drills. So my next point is learning measure through contact. The best measure training comes from training it with a sparring partner, with some sort of training tool like a padded longsword and a pad, and of course a fencing mask. Slowly, with precision and with purpose, without any extra intensity. And also, every time you spar, you train your body and your eyes to measure the distance to your opponent always. But you also learn visually and physically when the actual limit is. So you start to feel when you're too close or you're too far to your opponent to do some kind of action, even far before the sword even moves. How to train these kind of drills with a sparring partner? Every drill that I've mentioned in this video is applicable to you training it with a sparring partner. But one of you should take the role of the one who teaches and gives conditions, and the other one would be the one who practices it. And every and each of these drills should be made for like 5 and 10 repetitions, after which you should change the roles. But these drills are also ideal for a low gear environment, when you and your opponent have a fencing mask and a padded longsword. Because this is not an active sparring where anything is possible. These are specific drills that are conditioning you and training specific things like measurement, which later on you could apply in an actual sword fighting, so in a sparring. When you do these drills with a sparring partner, with an object, with a padded longsword, you automatically start to feel and see the limit and the measurement of the object that you're holding, so the longsword. You see where you're too close to your opponent, so you don't maintain the proper distance. And that's when both of you could actually hit each other very quickly, just swinging your sword. But also you could feel when you're too far from your sparring partner, so you don't reach with your own attack sequence. You can't reach your opponent without taking an extra fencing step to then committing to the attack. Over time it stops to be a calculation and becomes a pure instinct. That's when your moves starts to feel and look fluid, just like the real sword fighting should. My next point is why gaming got it completely wrong. Video games make you think that sword fighting consists of just only timing an input, a button. But the real sword fight is timing, pressure and measure all at once. Gaming teaches you to chase some fake power-ups, but the real sword fighting teaches you in a hard way what real movement feels like and looks like. So in some swords it builds your own power through your own awareness, through your own legs and footwork, and through your own measurement. Of course, through your own discipline as well. That weak system wants you soft, entertained and untrained. But here we're building something more, and we're doing more productive and more harder thing than just laying around on the couch. Every man who picks up a longsword and trains his footwork, his measure and his timing is the man he vows to become, because he's choosing the harder and the more rewarding path. So my last point is the breakthrough moment. There will be a moment when you will finally feel and understand the measure and the distance management in a sword fight. You'll start to feel like you're moving in and out of measure without even thinking about it. You will just turn on your instincts and you will feel when you're in danger, so you should retreat, and you will feel when you have the chance to get closer to your opponent to commit to the attack. And also that's the moment when you stop to be a beginner and you start to be a real swordsman. And it only appears through showing up, through just pure consistency and just pure grit. I'll be honest, you just have to show up again and again and again. This is really basic advice, but there's no just other way. So you should train more these kind of drills. You should come back to this video to remind yourself more and build your own instincts. And also you show up yourself in your HEMA club or a fencing club, to the point when it feels very, very repetitive. But that's the whole point. That's when you will integrate the measure instinct into your subconscious mind. Remember, distance isn't just learned once, it should be refined forever. If this kind of mindset and advice speaks to you and you trust me enough, then if you want more of these kind of drills, practices, my own feedback, then check out the link in the description. So my community from gamer to swordsman. It's not just a longsword for beginners guide. It's also a community of guys who are training just like you. It's a brotherhood built on self-improvement through sword fighting. Inside you'll learn, move, fight and live with a purpose again. Inside we're all done pretending that the real power comes through pixels. It comes through real steel, sweat and a bit of blood. It's time to take our power back. And remember, always take the initiative.